Welcome back, everybody. Today I'm going to be making an easy recipe for chicken spaghetti using pantry items. This is a requested video for some of you that wanted to see me use non-perishable pantry items in a recipe. And I gotta tell you, this one is going to be good. Okay, so some of you have left comments or messages asking for a pantry food recipe, basically utilizing non-perishable goods in the mix of a recipe. So the first thing that came to mind and the first thing I noticed I had to make was chicken spaghetti. For a full recipe, I'm only making a half recipe today, but I'll give you full recipe amounts. You will need 1 pound of spaghetti pasta. You will also need an 8-ounce block or 8 ounces of processed cheese, an 8-ounce block of cream cheese. And the shredded cheese in this recipe is up to you. You could use a full 8-ounce block of shredded cheddar, mild cheddar cheese, or the cheese of your choice. You'll also need a 10.5-ounce can of condensed cream of mushroom or cream of chicken. I actually have a combination of those two. A 10-ounce can of Rotel with the liquid and all. And if we are truly keeping this a pantry recipe for pantry items, you could add in 3 cans. These are 5 ounces each. 3 cans of chicken. Drain it and mix it into your spaghetti. But I actually have chicken breast thawed, so I'm going to be baking my chicken breast and chopping it up to put into the spaghetti. So that is pretty much a basic recipe for chicken spaghetti. I will leave that in the description below. I have other ingredients that I kind of want to add into it, maybe some dry seasonings and spices. I have some celery and onion that I want to chop into it, but those are optional. This will give you a chicken spaghetti. To prepare my chicken, I am going to season 2 chicken breasts. Now for this full recipe, you will need around 1 pound to 1.5 pounds of chicken breasts, chicken thighs, or the boneless, skinless chicken of your choice. I am doing half the recipe today, which is why I'm only working with 2 pieces of 2 chicken breasts. So I've seasoned underneath it. So what I'm going to do is just season with seasonal seasoning salts, onion powder, lemon pepper, smoked paprika, and garlic powder. You can season and salt this with the rub and seasonings and spices of your choice. This is what I went with today. I am going to bake this in the oven at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for about 15 to 17 minutes. Depending on the thickness and the size of the chicken breast will determine the cook time. It will vary. Basically, you want the internal temperature to read 165 degrees Fahrenheit. And you'll notice I put these close together. I put the thinner part of the chicken breast next to a thick part of the opposite. Basically, this sort of helps it cook a lot more evenly without the ends drying out before the thicker part cooks. So into my oven. My chicken is cooked through and done, so I'm going to let it rest. I'm going to cover it with another baking sheet and just let it rest until I'm ready to use it. There we go. Now I'm going to work on my cheesy, creamy sauce for this spaghetti. So I'm going to start with a tablespoon to 1.5 tablespoons of butter. Now I'm going to add celery, onion, and sweet bell pepper. For a full recipe, you could use 1 bell pepper, 1 small onion, and 1 celery stalk. I'm going to add a little bit of salt, a little bit of cracked black pepper, and I'm going to saute until My onions are softened and translucent, along with the bell pepper and the celery. Okay, so my onions, bell pepper, and celery are softened. I'm going to add a little bit of garlic powder. You could also add fresh garlic to this. A little bit of onion powder. And I like smoked paprika. You don't have to use that, but I like the flavor it gives this. So I'm going in with a little bit of smoked paprika. Give that a stir, and now I'm going to add the rest of my ingredients. Here I'm going in with my can of Rotel. This is basically chunks of tomato and green chilies. Now I'm going to add my cream of chicken / mushroom. And I'm working with a medium heat. I don't want to burn anything. I'm going to go in with my Velveeta cheese. I probably should have diced that up, but it'll work. And my cream cheese. And if you don't have cream cheese, you could opt to use sour cream, heavy cream. Those are good options for this. I'm just going to combine and mix this until everything is melted and creamy. Okay, so my cheese sauce is done. I'm going to go ahead and just turn it off because I'm going to chop the chicken and I'm going to start cooking my spaghetti. Okay, so my pasta water, or my water, is boiling. I'm going to add a hefty pinch of salt. Give that a mix. And just to remind you guys, I'm only making half of the recipe, which is why the quantities look smaller than what the recipe is. Now I'm going to take my spaghetti pasta. I'm going to break it in half. Right into my water. I'm going to give that a mix. And I'm going to, once it comes up to a rolling boil again, I'm going to time it and let it cook for about 9 to 10 minutes. Basically, you'll want to cook it to your desired doneness, but I am not going to bake this in the oven, so I pretty much want this to be done. I'm actually going to mix it with my cheese sauce, put it in my baking dish, add cheese on top, and just pop it into the broiler for about a minute, and it's ready. I'm not baking this for a long period of time, so if you're trying the recipe that I'm doing today, you want to make sure you cook your spaghetti noodles or pasta through. You want to make sure you cook them through because it's not going to cook any longer in the oven other than just broiling it. I'm going to actually reserve just a little bit of the pasta water, maybe 1/3 to 1/2 cup. I might not even use all of this, but I want a little bit of it. Okay, so I've drained my spaghetti. I'm going to put it back into the pot because this is where I'm going to mix everything. Oops. Okay, so my spaghetti's in. Now I'm going to add all of my cheese sauce. Melt that down again. I'm going to give this a mix. And I'm going to add a little bit of that pasta water. Maybe start with 1/4 cup. That's about it. That'll help get things nice, creamy, sort of emulsify it. Now I'm adding my chopped chicken. This was the well, if you're doing a full recipe, you'll want to cook around 4 chicken breasts. I'm doing half a recipe today. I'm going to add half of the cheese. Well, maybe not quite half, just a handful to mix into the pasta. You could also mix your cheese with breadcrumbs and a tablespoon of butter or so, or maybe 2 tablespoons of butter, to really make a nice cheesy crust on top of this. So this is going to go into my broiler until it is melted and bubbling and browned, and that's it. Now all I'm going to do is just add a little bit of parsley on top, and this is done. I hope you give this recipe a try. I hope you like it, and thanks for watching.